of engines, the blinding flash of headlights, the sharp screech of brakes. Road rage is one of those things we all imagine happens to someone else. We see the viral videos, a driver screaming at another, a slammed fist on a hood, a middle finger raised through the window. Most times it fizzles out with tempers cooling and cars speeding away in opposite directions. But sometimes it doesn't end with shouting. Sometimes it ends with someone not making it home. This is the story of the driver who didn't stop. Road rage turns deadly. The spark, it always starts small. A glance, a misstep, a perceived insult. On a crowded stretch of highway during rush hour, cars jockey for position. Horns honk, tempers simmer. One driver swerves too close. Another taps their brakes a little harder than needed. The moment is ordinary, almost forgettable, until it isn't. In this case, the road was slick from a recent drizzle, and visibility wasn't great. A black pickup merged quickly, forcing a silver sedan to brake. Tires squealed, coffee spilled across a lap, and the driver of the sedan exploded in fury. Instead of letting it go, he rolled down his window, leaned on his horn, and shouted curses into the damp air. The pickup slowed. The sedan pulled closer. For the next 10 minutes, the highway wasn't a route home. It was a battlefield. Escalation on asphalt. When two drivers lock into road rage, it becomes less about the cars and more about pride. Each move is a challenge, a dare. The pickup swerved to block. The sedan swerved back. Horns blared, brakes slammed, and innocent commuters were forced to dodge the madness playing out in their lane. Witnesses later described it as a cat and mouse chase. One woman, driving her kids home from soccer practice, said she feared she'd see a crash right in front of her. Another man dialed 911 when he saw the sedan tailgating so closely it looked like it would climb into the pickup's bed. Then came the breaking point. The pickup accelerated, weaving through cars, and the sedan followed. They were no longer just angry. They were committed to proving something neither could define. The fatal moment. Every story like this has a tipping point. On this highway, it came near an exit ramp. The pickup, determined to lose the sedan, cut across two lanes without signaling. The sedan followed, pushing too hard, too fast. Tires screamed against the wet pavement. In that split second, physics made the choice. The sedan lost traction. Its rear end fishtailed, slamming into the guardrail. Metal crunched, glass exploded. The car spun, collided with another vehicle, and finally came to a dead stop across two lanes. Inside, the driver lay slumped, his seatbelt cutting into his chest, airbags deflated around him. He would not survive the night. The pickup slowed, just for a heartbeat. Witnesses swear they saw its brake lights flare red, as if the driver thought about stopping. But then the lights went dark again. The truck accelerated, disappeared down the exit ramp, and melted into the city beyond. The driver who didn't stop. Aftermath of silence. In the minutes after the crash, chaos unfolded. Drivers rushed to help, some shouting for blankets, others dialing emergency services. Traffic snarled into gridlock, horns blaring in frustration from those who didn't yet know what had happened. Paramedics arrived quickly, but it wasn't enough. The driver of the sedan was pronounced dead at the scene. Another driver, an innocent caught in the chain reaction, suffered broken ribs but survived. The truck, gone. No license plate remembered clearly enough. No dashcam footage surfaced in time. Just a void, an absence where accountability should be. The media would later describe it as an anonymous ghost on the highway. Police called it vehicular homicide, but the victim's family called it something else: murder. The psychology of road rage. Why does this happen? Why does a trivial slight at 60 miles an hour become deadly? Psychologists point to a toxic mixed stress, anonymity, and the illusion of control. Behind the wheel, people feel shielded, protected by glass and steel. That protection breeds recklessness. Anger on the road isn't about traffic, it's about ego. A honk feels like disrespect. A cut off feels like an insult. And instead of diffusing, adrenaline demands escalation. I'll show you. I won't let you win. The road becomes a stage where ordinary people, who might never throw a punch in real life, suddenly act like gladiators. The problem: these gladiators wield 2-ton weapons moving at lethal speeds. Ghosts of the highway. This story isn't unique. Across the country, Thousands of accidents every year are linked to road rage. Some end in dents and insurance claims. Some end in funerals. Consider the chilling statistics. Nearly 80% of drivers admit to experiencing significant anger behind the wheel at least once a year. Hundreds of deaths annually are tied directly to aggressive driving. For every fatal case, there are countless near misses. Moments where someone barely escapes a deadly mistake. The highway remembers. Crosses nailed into guardrails, flowers left at median strips, photographs taped to lampposts. Silent markers of lives ended too soon by moments of fury. The hunt for the pickup, police didn't let this case fade. They combed through surveillance from nearby exits, gas stations, and toll booths. They canvassed witnesses, asking them to describe every detail of the fleeing truck. Some swore it had tinted windows. Others said it had a bumper sticker, though no one agreed on what it said. The investigation dragged on. Leads dried up. For the family of the victim, every unanswered call from detectives felt like a fresh wound. The driver who didn't stop remained a phantom, shielded by the vast anonymity of modern roads. But sometimes, phantoms slip. A truck matching the description was caught on a highway camera weeks later. When investigators traced the plates, they discovered a man with a history of reckless driving and a temper known to neighbors and co-workers. Though not officially convicted, the suspicion hung heavy. The community whispered he was the one who didn't stop. When bystanders become witnesses, road rage doesn't just involve the drivers. Every car on that stretch of highway becomes part of the story. Parents with children in the back seat, commuters heading home after long shifts, young drivers still new to the road. They all watch in horror as the drama unfolds. Some grab their phones, trying to capture license plates or call emergency services. Others freeze, unsure if stepping in will make them targets too. The presence of bystanders often determines whether justice can follow tragedy. A driver who notes a partial plate number, a passenger who records on their phone, a pedestrian who remembers a distinctive bumper sticker. These fragments can be the difference between a case going cold and an arrest being made. Yet many admit later that they hesitated, shocked into silence by the sheer suddenness of violence. In moments like these, ordinary people carry extraordinary responsibility. The law's long arm, what happens to the driver who doesn't stop? In many places, fleeing the scene of a fatal crash is itself a crime, punishable by years in prison. But beyond the legal system, there's the weight of conscience. Some drivers who fled in rage have later turned themselves in, unable to carry the burden. Others are found only after investigators piece together a puzzle of witness testimony, camera footage, and forensic evidence pulled from twisted metal. But justice often feels slow to grieving families. Even when arrests are made, trials drag on. Defense lawyers argue about intent. Was it truly rage, or simply reckless panic? Was it murder or manslaughter? The lesson the road demands: road rage isn't about bad drivers. It's about choices. Every driver has the power to let go or to hold on, to breathe and back off, or to press harder on the gas. This story ends with tragedy because two people chose escalation. The final mile as you drive tonight, headlights streaming past, remember you are sharing the road with lives, not just vehicles. Because the driver who didn't stop left more than a scene of wreckage. He left a warning etched into the asphalt. The highway doesn't forgive pride, and anger at 60 miles per hour can take everything from you in an instant. So the question is, when it's your turn, will you stop?